Hello guys and gals, me Devil here, and welcome to my very first episode of Cursage Gaming. Before I want to start this episode, I want to tell you that this series is essentially me talking about the greatest gaming creepypastas this world has to offer. This episode I will be covering Call of Duty World at War Beta Disc. For those who don't know what Call of Duty is, it's essentially the best first-person shooter franchise ever made. So this creepypasta starts with the player looking up stuff about the game Call of Duty World at War for the Xbox 360 and PS3. So the player found some beta footage of the game and it piqued his interest. Piqued her interest. So the player ringed up his friend, who owned a game shop, and asked if he could have his copy of the game, just in case it was the beta version. His friend said yes, and that he would give it to him for free. Now, once the player gets his copy of the game, he notices that the disc had Japanese writing on it. The player didn't mind it and sprinted home to pop the beta disc into his Xbox 360. Once the game loaded up, the same Japanese text from the disc appeared on screen. The player noticed that on the main menu, campaign was replaced with Red Rum NHOJ. Upon selecting Red Rum NHOJ, the game instantly went straight to the level. Like there was no intro or cutscene at all, it just went straight to the game. Weird, right? So the player noticed that a lot of the things from the final game were missing. Like the part where the private gets his throat slit, for instance. Yeah, just a lot of things were gone. The player found this to be quite odd and went outside. In the game, not real life of course, you gotta remember, the player's a gamer. Gamers lack the incentive to go outside. Upon entering the outside, he noticed a cave. The player thought this was maybe where the missing fight must have taken place in the beta. As the player walked into the cave, he or she thought they heard a gurgled cry. This, of course, frightened the player. The player thought the cry was a glitch and just moved on. Now, the cave itself was pitch black, like he or she just could not he or she could not see at all. Like it was just totally black. Inside the darkness, the player noticed a dead corpse. Upon inspecting the corpse, he or she realized that the body resembled Adolf Hitler. For those who don't know who Adolf Hitler was, he was a Nazi leader during the Second World War. Now, the player thought this was weird since Hitler never actually appeared in the official game. The player then fell through the floor and went into third-person view. The player saw that his in-game character model's face was melting. There was blood everywhere. The player found this very confusing. Once the player, the character finally died, the same Japanese text showed up. The player put the Japanese text into Google Translate, and what it translated to was, "You deserve death," over and over again in all caps. The player then noticed that his body had the red ring of death, and it started to produce smoke. The Xbox then started to produce a squealing-like noise. According to the player, it sounded like the Xbox 360 was about to explode. This forced the player to throw his Xbox out the window. Before the player could do so, he saw a picture of the dead body of Adolf Hitler on the screen. Ever since then, the player vowed to never play a beta disc ever again. Well, now, what do I think about this? Actually, I think it could be real. Not 100% real, of course. The reason being that if this really did get out, then it just would have been all over the news. A Call of Duty game with this little content would get shat on by the masses. Now, I am a bit skeptical because there's no way Treyarch themselves would have made the game like this. My dad actually works at Treyarch and knows Jason Blundell and David Vonderhaar themselves, and I asked him if this game existed, and he said no. So there's that. Other than the questionable realism, this was still a very good creepypasta. The blood and gore and realism actually made this very, very unnerving to read, and I highly suggest you give this a read. This did make me unearth some fecal matter in my boxers, so it's actually very good. So, what would you guys rate this creepypasta, huh? Comment down below, what do you think about this? How to make it better? How to make it worse? And, yeah. The link to the creepypasta is in the description below, so click that link if you want to read it. And make sure you guys subscribe to my friend, typical_Ultrade for more gaming vids. You can find him on browsers and RedTube in the description below. Thanks guys and gals for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and tune in next Sunday for another gaming creepypasta. This has been Cursage Gaming, and this is me, Skeledevil, and I'm out.